Husana! And everybody, he is sitting in the most incredible position on top of this termite mound. I'm thinking that what we will do is I just want to give him a little bit of a different background as we come around. We've got one of the Chitwa vehicles is leaving, who was so nice to find it for us, and then we've got Cheetah Plains vehicle in the sighting with us now. And this, oh my goodness, everybody, look at that visual. Ferg, are we happy? How gorgeous. All right, so your special treat for the morning, Prince of Djuma, our beautiful Husana. And he's not hiding like our cheeky little Tundi. He is out in his full glory, and it's still nice and cool. The clouds have actually circled back around. So we have a lot of swallows that are flying around behind him in the distance. That's giving a nice background because there's a good amount of insect activity that's happening. And because it's still cool, I'm hoping that this little nap he's having now will result in him waking up and stretching and yawning and walking down the termite mound. And then maybe we get to follow him for a little bit. It's not a very busy sighting at the moment, so I'm hoping to stay with him for quite a while. My fingers are itching for my camera. This is a really great shot in color, but I'm actually thinking of doing some composites with black and white because there's a lot of really great textures that are happening here. So he didn't go too far from where we had him the other day with his little impala kill. And he's not looking thin. I can't see his belly fully, so I don't know if he has eaten anything larger than that small impala, but it's entirely possible. Maybe he had another small impala. Termite mound's a very good vantage point for him. He can sit up there and look around and see if there's any prey. Also, he can look around and see if there's any predators around. And then that termite mound is also warm because of the amount of air that filters through out of the water table underneath there, and the amount of humidity that these macrotermes need to produce their fungus gardens that help them break down plant matter, and then they eat the excrement from the fungi that's left over. And I'm glad to hear everyone's very happy. Oh, look at that. That's beautiful, everyone. That is a stunning shot of a sleepy young male Husana. I was thinking about some of the stories you all were sharing with me the other day about when he was younger, because he had to sort of grow up a lot of his years too early without his mom, unfortunately. But you were talking about how he used to go fishing for terrapins and how he wasn't too afraid of the water, or he didn't avoid the water, let's say. But what I'm interested with is, because he was younger and he developed that little skill, I'm surprised that he hasn't kept up with that now. Like that other young male leopard I tell you about from time to time that was on another property sort of north of us, he used to actively get in even after this sort of 2-year-old age and pull out big fish, big barbel, also known as catfish. And now when we see Husana and he's killing things, it's usually something like an impala. So I find it very interesting. I wonder, I'm just thinking out loud here about him, his need for survival, and his curiosity with things that move. Obviously, when you get towards water, and you do need water to survive, when you get towards water, those terrapins will sort of dive under, so that's obviously going to catch his attention. And then because it's the movement and him being young and then grabbing it and then eating it and then realizing, ooh, okay, I can eat this, especially when those terrapins are younger and their shells are a little bit softer. But now, as he gets older and he gets more confident in himself, he seems to have stopped that behavior from what I can see, and I haven't had anyone tell me they've seen it recently, none of the guides and none of you all as well. So I find that quite interesting, just as a side note. Yes, these swallows are incredible. Gemma, you're asking if Husana is 2 years old yet. I believe he turns 2 in February, if I'm remembering correctly. But I do know there are several of you that keep minute minutes and details about that, but I'm pretty sure it's in February of 2018 that he will be 2 years old. So if I have misspoken, you guys can send out your tweets to everyone and just say what the birth date is there. I did really appreciate the message that I got. I'm so sorry I've forgotten the viewer's name. I hope you're watching this morning. You can remind me. And you said for Kachava's mating with Tingana was the 19th of September. Those dates are very, very helpful, and I appreciate that. Obviously, they would have mated for a few days around that day as well, but that was helpful. Julia, you want to know what Hosana means. So I got asked what Tingana meant the other day, and I was thinking, oh my goodness, I don't know that word in Shangaan. And then we had someone very helpfully say Tingana means to be shy. And now you're asking, what does Hosana mean? And unfortunately, Julia, I also don't know in Shangaan what Hosana means, but I'm sure that there's someone out there who does. If you wouldn't mind giving me a hand. Not just giving me a hand, giving everyone a hand. We are interactive. We're interactive with you all being interactive with us, but we're also interactive with each other, so within the community, which is something that's so wonderful about Safari Live. And then if there's anyone that's just tuned in, or if there's anyone that's new with us this morning, we get all of these wonderful questions and comments through you hashtagging Safari Live on Twitter or going onto YouTube chat and punching in a comment or a question. So please keep them coming. And again, if anyone's just joining us now, we are live from Sabi Sands in South Africa. So myself and Scotty D out on drive this morning. Scott's been tracking some lions, and hopefully he'll manage to find Tundi if I couldn't find her. And now we've got Husana. Taylor, you're saying that you want to sleep like that. I'm feeling you, my friend. I could also sleep like that today. I could just curl up right on that termite mound. Not a problem. I think it's the cloudy weather. Rich, you've got a little tongue-in-cheek comment there. Hasn't this leopard been sleeping for a couple of days now? Yeah, Rich, it does feel like that because we do keep catching him when he's having a little bit of a siesta time. But again, a lot of the large cats do siesta often. They have a nice life. All right, I have been told that there are 2 hairs. Now, whether those are hairs on head or hairs as in cousin to the rabbit, I'm not quite sure, but let's head on over to Scott and see what he has. I'm intrigued. Welcome back, everyone. And Husana has not moved one ear, one whisker, nothing. He's still in exactly the same spot. So, Julia, we have quite a few other viewers who have answered your question about what does Hosana mean, and Diane being one of them, and Kat in Tampa being another one of them. Hosana apparently means little chief, and that's how he got his name. Well, that's what his name means. And I'm now knowing that, I'm assuming that's also why we call him the Little Prince. And I believe you all call Tingana the Duke. What's Mvula's, what royal moniker have you all given him, Mvula? Oh, the Jester. Really, Ferg? No. Oh, Ferg says the Jester, and then he says he's joking, but I actually like that. So if you haven't given Mvula a royal moniker, then I think we must keep with the Jester. I like that very much. All right. The other vehicle that was with us is just repositioning a little bit. Once they've finished doing what they need to do and getting their photos that they need to get, Ferg and I have a plan of how we're going to get you some epic screenshots. So just have a little bit of patience with us, and then we're going to do some amazing maneuvering in just a couple of minutes. I'm just waiting for these guys to sort themselves out. I also want to see if we can manage. Unfortunately, there's some more cloud buildup in the background, but it's lending through for this really sort of slate gray color. You can just see it over the left-hand side of Hosana there. And so I'm hoping, I want to get that in the shot along with some of the activity with these swallows. And that will be my idea of your photographic time with me this morning. Lev, you're saying that it was your birthday, so the 2nd of February is your birthday, and Brent showed you Husana and his sister Shongile, that sunrise game drive of ours in the morning, and that is how you remembered it because it's also your birthday, so thank you so much. So if that's when Brent first saw them, then they would have been already, oh no, Karula used to bring out her cubs super early. So they were probably anywhere from 6 weeks to 3 months. I'm going to hold my breath and wait for you guys to tell me exactly, but I think I'm remembering correctly that Tristan said that they brought them out super early. Karula was super relaxed with them, and at 2 months maybe. Oh, very cool. So Nikki's just saying, if she can remember correctly, that she thinks that what had happened was we saw Karula pregnant, and then Brent found her den and managed to see a little visual of the cub, and that was the first visual, and that was the 2nd of February. So that would have been sort of anywhere from a few days to a couple of weeks, and then the area was zoned, and then we saw them several weeks after that. All right, thanks everybody. It's nice for me to know these things, but it's also nice, remember, our community keeps growing, so we've had quite a few new viewers that are popping up the past couple of days, and now they're getting on board with how much we all love Safari Live, and part of that is the characters that we have and their lives and following them. He's a very sleepy young man. The temperature has just dropped by several degrees, and it's not as humid as it was, and I can actually smell rain. So it's not raining by us. You smell that, Ferg? I don't know how to describe the smell of rain. I especially don't know how to describe, if you've never been to Africa or you're not physically sitting in Africa at the moment, the smell is different. So the only other thing I can equate it to, if there's any of you that are living in New Mexico or Arizona, or even possibly somewhere like Colorado, when you have those hot, very dry summer days, and you are in an area with that red soil, that iron soil, and you start to get that rain coming through, and it hasn't quite hit you yet. And so it's still hot and dusty, and then the rain's falling, and the breeze, that cool, sharp breeze starts coming through, and you get that very distinct smell of moisture. That's what it smells like in Africa. It's still not the same, but that is close as I can possibly get you to it. And gorgeous Ferg. Brandon, you'd like to know, when will Husana start to mate? So Husana is still a bit young. If Husana's mom hadn't passed on, he would just start being independent from her from sort of nowish until, a couple of months from now. And only then start trying to figure out where he wants to be in the world, and if there's a spot for him to stay around here, or if he needs to push off and become an adult male leopard somewhere else. It's all dependent on the other male territories that are around. But because his mom passed away when he was a lot younger, he has stayed in a lot of her natal territory and has started coming of his own in that area, and is very comfortable. Ooh, your little heads up. And started becoming comfortable there. Now, normally, he would only start mating sort of 4 years old or older. But I have a feeling because he's had to do everything a lot younger than normal, that it's possible that he'll start doing. Ooh, that is gorgeous, everybody. My thought for, there's the yawn. My thought for where I wanted to move for you all for screenshots. Unfortunately, the other vehicle's still there, but this is absolutely gorgeous, and I don't think we are going to miss much. Okay, you're going to go around to the other side. With him doing that, I'm then going to reposition us to the other side of the termite mound. All right, while I'm busy repositioning for all of you, I think let's head back over to Scott and see what he's up to. Scott, I hope you have better luck this morning than we did for the first sort of hour in the area where we think she is. I didn't pick up any tracks, but I'm hoping maybe she was just resting inside wherever her den was and that she pops out for you now. She did do that the other day. Ferg and I did our first little bit there and then nothing, and then she popped out a little bit later in the morning, so I am crossing fingers and holding thumbs for you. Now, we have moved around to the other side of the termite round. He's moved so that the background that I like so much with the slate gray is not there, but we have really gorgeous up-close visuals of a little tick under his eye and just of a nice little sleeping leopard here. He really has no care in the world. Looking very well fed. Healthy, happy. One thing I really like about Husana, because his mom was such a relaxed female, is that he's inherited a lot of that, even though he's raised himself up quite a bit. So his personal bubble and how he reacts with us is very different from a lot of the other leopards that you'll see out here. He reminds me very much of a young female that I was working with earlier in the year who used to walk through the lodge that I was at, literally right next to you. She couldn't have cared less. And he's quite similar. He just sees you wholly as part of the natural environment, but not as something that can injure him, and also not something that he wants to eat. Humans walk on 2 legs, and we have binocular vision similar to a predator. Our eyes sit in front. So we are quite tall and imposing, and then that, as well as the fact that we have predator vision. Sometimes predators can't quite figure out what we are and what we're on about. And leopards being quite intelligent, and this male being intelligent and comfortable with us, he's just decided that he understands exactly what we are and what we're on about and has no issue with any of it. And I fully enjoy that. I had a couple of times recently where I've had to get out of the vehicle and track him a little bit on foot in between segments just to see where he was, and he gets so curious. He stops and he just watches you once you find him. And he looks at you, and it's not in a, oh my goodness, I'm going to run away or I'm going to rev you sort of way. He's just honestly curious about everything that you're doing. I'm trying to see if we can get these red-breasted swallows to perch themselves a little bit so that you can have a look, but they are too busy hunting. Jeanette, you'd like to know if I think the ants bite him while he's lying there. If they were biting him and he could feel it, he would definitely react to it, just like when the flies bite him. So no, I think they're just crawling around him and not really that fussed. Depends on what species of ant it is as well. And then the termites that are inside of the mound aren't going to pop out and come and bite him either. Although it is still cool enough for us to see some termite activity. I'm not seeing any outside this mound at the moment. We have another vehicle that will be joining us in our sighting here. So excuse the noise. I'm just going to let him position himself. Maritza, you're saying you just want to take the ticks off from his eyes, but then he'll eat you. I don't think he'll eat you, Maritza. He doesn't see you as food, but I do think he would probably give you a good whack, that's for sure. Or even before you even got up close enough, he would probably move away and go, no, that's a bit much. He sees something. I'm not quite seeing what he sees, but his eyesight and angle is better than mine. Might be an impala, might be Nyala. Oh, there's a hornbill. There's a hornbill that's landed in a thick tree over there that's caught his attention. That's the only thing I can see at the moment. Julia, you're keen to know how many types of big cats are in Africa. We have 3 of the 8 worldwide. We have leopard, we have lion, and we have cheetah, Julia. Ugh, and then he puts his face behind the grass. All right, everybody, unfortunately, this is going to have to be the last little bit that we have with him. The other game drive vehicles have gotten out and about with their guests, and there are a few more people who want to come and see him. And so we need to share and be obliging. And I think we've done well with a few segments, and although he's been sleepy, he did do a bit of a scratch and a stretch and a yawn. So we're going to say goodbye to him now. And then Ferg and I are going to carry on, and maybe we get lucky and find another leopard. Maybe some lions pop up, or maybe, just maybe, our elephants come back, and really holding thumbs and crossing fingers that the buffalo come back. So thank you, Husana. It's been epic as always. Guide Monkey, you'd like to know what the overlap in territory is between lions and these leopards? It's full, Guide Monkey. So their territorial boundaries are not for other predators. It's for other members, other individuals of the same species. So there's full overlap between different predator species. All right, everyone. We are going to head off. And while we're moving out, let's head on over to Scott. So see what he is up to and give you a little bit of an update.